Hey, Terry Bain. Great episode of Business Growth Time. Today we're going to be talking about goal setting for 2017 and priority management. With me, as always, my good friend, high school pal, the lovely, the talented Janet E. Johnson, where today the E stands for enthusiastic.
Ooh, where'd that come from?
I don't know. I needed something, and I'm running out of E words. This is like episode 70. I
You're
know there's
talking
a
priority
dictionary.
management, so I'm thinking
Execution would have been a really
there,
good
yeah, there
one.
you go. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
no, I'm not. I can only think, as much as I can think. I'm not all that good at it, but I do my best, Janet E. Johnson. And I feel like we've used execution before anyway.
Yeah, I think we have.
So,
So
it's
enthusiastic. Well, we're always enthusiastic. It's we like what we do. We have fun with it.
tell you what, it makes it a lot easier to get up in the morning and do it when you actually
Mm-hmm.
like it.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very true. Talk to people all the time, don't like what they do. Ugh. They're the ones that are
Oh,
looking forward to Friday.
yeah, enthusiastic about the weekend.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
changes enthusiasm all the way around. So
That
that's cool. So goal setting, right? So important. Such a huge
A lot
topic.
of people are probably thinking about it right now. It's the
And
time of the year.
and if they're not thinking about it, they really need to be. So, and it's funny because we always put those goals off and those big plans and those things we're going to do to January 1st. We got the New Year's resolution. And that says 70% of New Year's resolutions fail. Take a guess at how long?
I think I've heard that before, but within even a few days, weeks, I can't remember, but
Within 21 days, 3 weeks.
okay, three
You're
weeks.
just done, right? Oh, hey, look, I've got this New Year's resolution. I'm going to do X or Y or Z or Q, and I'm going to do it for about 3 weeks, evidently.
And I'm not a believer. I've never really done New Year's resolutions. Never. You know why?
Right?
Because I believe in New Year's resolutions every day.
Right.
I
That's
just
it.
don't. I don't go. Oh, because it's January 1st, I'm gonna start working out. I mean, I'm gonna work out year round. I do work out more when it's not as cold outside, but
It's easier.
it's that's I just am not a believer in it. I think you put yourself actually in a bad spot if you. I'm not saying you shouldn't goal set, but I'm saying that if you're one time a year you're focusing on, okay, I'm going to change my life on the 1st of January.
Which is pretty tough to do if you look at what goes on the 1st of January. You've got like 6 college football games, which means that there's the hangover party from the night before. You're eating all the crap that didn't get finished. You're drinking all the booze that didn't get finished. At least have it be like a
A
January
second.
10th thing, right? Give
Yeah.
yourself some time to acclimate. But you know what? I don't want New
But
Year's.
then comes
I
Super
want new
Bowl. I mean,
days.
these aren't my excuses because I don't
Yeah.
really care about football. But I'm just, and then wait, okay, well, you know what? I'll start on Valentine's Day. Wait, I'll start on Easter. It's just it. You know what? Start today.
Start today. So forget about New Year's resolutions. We'll go with New Day resolutions, right? It's a new day. That's what's up. And I like that from a conceptual standpoint because one of the videos that I did a while back and I was going to reshoot today is kind of funny. It's called Start Again Tomorrow.
Nice.
Right. And we think about it, right? We get in some trenches and we get into habits and then we fall out of them. And then if we let that fallout happen day after day after day, we're getting farther away from the progress we made. Right. But if we just remember that we can always start again tomorrow, it's a good thing. I talk about, we use the workout example and the gym example. We go to the gym. If you miss a couple of days, it's not the end of the world. You miss a couple of weeks, it's a little harder to get back into it. You miss a couple of months, and it really becomes difficult. So try not to let 3 days go by when you miss a workout.
Just don't say that. My week has been so busy. I'm at day 5 without working out, and that's so unusual for me. So I'm fine, though, because I will jump back into it as soon as I have a minute. But
Because you'll make a minute, right?
Mhm.
You will make time.
Yeah,
Will you do it
it'll come
today?
back. My afternoon's booked, and I have this fill-in, so we might see. I don't even know, but I know for sure tomorrow I have time. So
You will have time
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Well, that's always good. The other thing that we
Like
talked
you
about,
said, start tomorrow.
start again tomorrow. Hey, I didn't say start again this afternoon. I said start again tomorrow. You're okay. Right, right.
I caught that.
But took full advantage of it. The other thing about working out is don't let a Monday go by without it. Right?
Good
At
point.
least get your
Yeah.
Monday in, because that's a good start. And it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, whether you're trying to woo your spouse, right? You should probably not let more than 3 days go by without doing that. And if you blow it, start again on Monday, because you may have done something stupid over the weekend. So that's good. Pitch your clients, put proposals together, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
Don't let too much time get in between the work that you're going to do.
Hmm.
So, we hit on this earlier a little bit about the idea of loving what you do, making it so much easier. It's a struggle when you can't stand the work you're doing to build the habits that you have to be able to achieve a level of success. Right? When was the last time you had a job that you didn't like?
Well, you run into clients sometimes that that you feel like it's a job, and then it becomes, so that can still happen.
That's a good point.
But a true job, I haven't had one in too long, so I don't know.
You're like, I don't even remember.
You know what? The worst job I ever had, I think, was a hotel maid.
Really? What the heck? What was that?
Ever. It was Sofitel in Bloomington or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember the Sofitel.
I think I lasted like 3 weeks. I couldn't stand it. I just did not like cleaning up after people and making beds constantly. And no. So anyway.
And then you decided to become a mom.
That's a good point.
Which is different how?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that's so funny. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about priority management. We'll talk a little bit more about passion and liking what you'll do. And then we need to talk a little bit about long-range goal setting and short-range goal setting. And let's start there, because having that vision of where you want to get to eventually, I think, is the piece that pulls you toward what you're trying to do, right? When you're compelled to do something, it makes it so much easier to do the things that you need to do than when you're trying to push your way into it, right? And it's very, very interesting that we normally do things from the reverse side. Mm-hmm. Tony Robbins has stated that most people underestimate what they can get done in a 10-year period and overestimate what they can do in a year, right? So we set our goals a little bit backwards, right? We're always looking at this short-term goal, and we have a multitude of things that we want to get done. In the way the brain works, you're only really able to focus on a thing at a time. And so all of this,
the ADD people have issues. Yes,
we do, right? And squirrel. What? I am guilty as charged, but I recognize this fact that this one thing that we can focus on and get done is really more important and more relevant, and honestly, the only thing doable relative to I'm a multitasker. There's no multitasking. As quickly as your brain processes, it doesn't process multiple things at once. It's not a parallel processor, right? It can do it fast and you can jump back and forth, but every time you jump back and forth, you stop the energy, you stop the momentum, right? And you almost lose traction and lose ground and have to go back and start again. Mm-hmm. And it's painful for me. I try and get my wife to work with me from time to time, and she's really linear, man. She starts a task, she gets the task done, doesn't get up in the interim.
Be that way, but I have to know that that's what I'm doing. I really have to hone in on it and make myself do that. Force it. Turn off Facebook. I use the Focus app. Turn on my Focus app. Go, okay, you can't look any other direction for the next 25 minutes till the beeper goes off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to train yourself if you're like us.
So talk to us about what that Focus app is, because A, I don't have it, and B, it sounds like you suffer from some of the same problems I have.
Well, it's called Be Focused.
Be Focused.
Basically, what it does is you can do different tasks. You can upgrade for $1.99. It's just an app. And I believe they have something on desktop too. But it basically goes for 25 minutes, and you can choose. I have different clients in there too. So I can say, okay, I'm working on this person's task. And then at 25 minutes, it beeps at you, and you're supposed to be taking a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Brain functions better if you kind of have that little breather of time, stand up, kind of like Wendy Pett was on the show. You should stretch, stand up, do something else every 25 minutes. And then so that's your half-hour break. So if you go in half-hour increments like that. Now, granted, usually I hit the button and I turn it off and I never take the 5-minute breaks, but
right.
That's how it's supposed to work.
Interesting. So for me, I would need one that had like a shock collar, right? So every time I'm doing something that's outside of what I'm supposed to focus on, right, I just get zapped. It would be like a conditioning experience. That would be.
You know what? Now we have a product to develop.
Exactly. All right. So go ahead and comment or like or do something if you need the shock collar deal, because we might be having that come to a Business Growth Time Facebook page near you. I think that would be really, really powerful. So it's a really good thing, right? So having that kind of system, that thing that is going to keep you on track, becomes really important. So the goal, right, is the thing that's supposed to keep you on track. And this is what becomes really interesting, because much like we can't process multiple pieces of information simultaneously, we really can't focus on a single goal simultaneously either. And so for me, there's been times in my career where I've struggled because I'm like, well, I got this goal for this client and this goal for this client and this goal for my business and this goal for my relationship and this goal for this. And so each one, right, requires just a little bit of attention at a time. So I'm going to spend an hour over here and 2 hours over here and 7 minutes there. And like we were talking about earlier, each time you shift or change hats, you retard the process a little bit, right? And as in slow down. It's I want to own that word again. I like the word retard, not the way everybody takes it and all is offended. But it slows down the progress. So it really is a matter of, maybe if you've got multiple things going on, you chunk out 4-hour blocks or day-long blocks where this is, on this day, I work on this type of stuff. And on that day, I work on stuff.
Accomplished it, though.
Well, it's because most of us are so reactionary as opposed to proactive. Because the moment the email hits or the text comes in or the phone rings, you're like, okay, shift, right? And we don't do that. I've got friends that for years, their voicemail grid says, I check messages twice a day.
I know.
Between at 9 a.m. and at 4 p.m. and I will get back to you between those hours, right? Or
I'll
get back to you within a half hour.
My best to do that at times. And when I do, it works tremendously. I mean, you just feel like, well, for instance, I'm creating this training program right now. I'm doing a bunch of videos for it. And my best days to do that are like a Saturday or Sunday, because I know I'm not going to be so interrupted with things.
Absolutely. But the key is, and this is what we have to take ownership and accountability, is we allow those interruptions to happen, right?
Totally.
Because those people are going to call us and they're going to text us and they're going to message us and they're going to do whatever they're doing. And it's like, you ever call somebody and they're like, oh, I'm right in the middle of X, Y, Z, and you apologize. Like you knew they were in the middle of what, right? Like, well, yeah, of course you were. Why else would I have called? I was waiting for that moment. I have a tendency to call on people when we're doing meetings when they're chewing, just because I think it's funny, because I'm mean.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. We don't know what we're interrupting, but we're gonna be interrupting, and so it's up to them to take the little swipe on the phone that rejects the call, or not even see or hear the phone call
Yeah.
come in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me. My phone is on silence 90% of the time. It's not, no beeps, no
Yeah, me
buzzes, no
too.
rings, right? And the amount of times I happen to pick my phone up when someone's calling is pretty staggering. I don't miss a lot of calls, even though my phone is never, there's no
Hmm.
alert for me to get the call coming in. I'm like psychic.
I guess you have a side to you.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't, because now we're talking why are you picking up your phone?
Why? Because I'm easily distracted and I don't have the focused app is why I'm picking up the phone. And there's no shock collar, right?
Exactly.
This is back to what we need.
I
All
like
right.
it. I like it. So basically, reiterating it, we should, if let's just say we have multiple clients, or we're working on a project, for instance. So let's just use, for an example, I'm trying to finish up creating my training program. So I should be blocking off 2, 3, 4 hours at a time, turning all distractions off, which I have to do because I'm recording videos, but turn off all those distractions and just crank it out, and don't look at Facebook. Well, which is easier said than done because I'm training about Facebook. But
Right.
but the thing is, turning off those distractions as much as possible. And then you take the next day. So you maybe even create a content calendar for yourself, or a schedule for yourself, that this is my day that I work, if that's possible. Now, granted, things will come up, and maybe you have a 2-hour window each day, or 1 hour, that you just put out fires or take care of the little things here and there. Something like that.
So you nailed it. So there's two concepts that I want to share. One of them is priority management,
Okay.
and the other one's time blocking.
Got it.
So from a when you set your goal, right? If you know where you want to go 10 years from now, you should be able to break that down into annual goals, right?
Okay.
And watch yourself grow. Those annual goals, you have to figure out what those big things are that need to happen quarterly for you to get to that annual goal. So you break it down into 4 segments,
Yeah.
and then you prioritize how to get to those big things that need to get done for you to reach your quarterly goal. And when you prioritize, hey, instead of looking at a to-do list of 75 things that you're going to work on today, maybe that to-do list is down to 10 things that you're going to get done today or this week, right? And what we confuse a lot of times is the difference between a project and a task. Right? If you're putting together a marketing strategy for a client, that is a project. That's not a single task. Think about all the different elements that go into that marketing strategy. If you say, I'm going to work on these 2 elements of it today and the next 2 elements of it tomorrow,
Got it.
and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get that done, then it becomes a lot easier to eat that elephant, as it were, as opposed to saying, I'm going to knock out this marketing strategy. Because much like we underestimate what we can get done in 10 years and overestimate what we can get done in 1 year, we certainly overestimate how much we can get done in an hour. Right? Oh, yeah. I mean, especially a marketing strategy. I've written a dozen of these in the last 12 months. I already know what I'm going to do. I'll just sit down and start writing. I'm banging out in an hour and a half. And all of a sudden 4.5 hours go by and you're halfway done. Has that ever happened to you, or am I just describing my life?
No, it definitely has happened. Yes, definitely
Okay.
happens.
And it's because it's like, oh yeah, it's easy peasy. Well, it is, but it's not simple, right? It's really complex. And normally, as much as we like to think we can reuse, right, and repurpose some of the information, it just doesn't make sense. And
Mhm.
this is why we're talking, and your coach is telling you, focus on a niche,
Yep.
right? Because that conversation becomes a little
Focus
easier.
on a niche, and niche to more just Facebook ads as much as possible. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's interesting you say this, because I just want to bring up an example.
Yes.
I have done this year, I don't have my calendar in front of me, but it's on a Google now. We set up our whole entire calendar all the way through end of summer, I believe, at this point. I could have gone further, but I hit the things that the main big projects that I want to do and accomplish. And then I took and said, okay, we're going to start with the first upcoming one, and I worked my way backwards. And then I created a calendar with very specific dates on an Excel spreadsheet that has clean up my member area. This is specific to social strategies that I'm relaunching. Now I'm looking at it going, did I accomplish my things?
Because you're easily distracted.
But, I pick this up and I look at it and I go, okay, well, I'm supposed to have all my new videos done and in there by 12/19. So I'm still good. I'm still good.
Right. I still got time. We got 10 days.
I got time. By 12/26, I have to audit my entire site. By this day, so I have it, but I broke it backwards. So I did the whole year out, and then now I'm chunking it backwards for each project.
And I think that's an amazing way to go about it. The question is, where have you budgeted time in your actual week? I see that you've got timelines and goals on where you have to have things done. But if I were to look at your weekly calendar, would I see where you've budgeted time to actually work on these things? No. Because the fairies, we have fairies.
I have done that in the past. I had my book writing on there in the past, and no, I should. No, I don't. I kind of figure, okay, when there's that extra time, low time with the clients, boom, I'll crank it out. But yeah, it's not scheduled, and you're right. It should be actually scheduled, or it ends up on the weekends.
It ends up on the weekends, right? Mm-hmm. Because what's the old saying? Work expands to fill the time allotted. Mm-hmm. Right? So you were saying earlier before we hopped on the recording that you were working yesterday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. Mm-hmm. And you managed to get yourself an hour break where you sat down and did homework with your son. And it was like you didn't wake up yesterday, I'm sure of it, thinking I'm going to work 14 hours straight. And you knew you had the 7 to 9 p.m. thing on lockdown. You knew you were working until 9. You probably just didn't think you were going to be nailing out those 12 hours beforehand. Is that true?
Exactly. A lot of things came up. A lot of phone calls. Way more than I had any idea was going to happen. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so if you had taken some of this into consideration, right, some of this priority management, as important as those things were at the time, the question is, were they really that important overall to you getting to your goal, to you getting your priorities taken care of?
Mm-hmm. Yes and no, but not for that program, no.
Right. Well, yeah, certainly not for this program. It was, because I can assure you, out of that 14 hours yesterday, exactly 3 minutes of it was allocated to that program. And I didn't even know. We don't have this conversation, but am I close?
I did a little bit, with the back end, getting it ready. But yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, good. I like this. Normally I'm in the hot seat. This is fun with you.
I gotta put myself there, but
this is way better.
There's it's good though. I mean, I do believe though you really got to look way out at your goals. And granted, you could go a whole year. You can go much longer, or 10 years like you were talking about. But in social media world, I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years.
Right.
So that's pushing it. But I do know I have my goal of, we're talking about doing a summit. So that's even on the calendar. The next thing is a book. That's on the calendar. So that's kind of my big goals for the year. And I just said them out loud. So now I'm in trouble.
No, other people heard your big goals too. And now I'm thinking, that's right. We were talking about the summit, and we haven't had a conversation about that in 3 weeks.
Yep.
Right? And it's not like it's getting farther away. It's getting closer to when we said we were going to do it. It was, we put on an event here in September, and we knew we were going to do it. And we started having that conversation in April, and we're like, man, we're really far ahead of the game. And in May, we talked about it, and we did a couple of things, and we secured a sponsor, and we secured a venue, and we were like, man, we're cranking this out. This is cool. And then we didn't talk again basically until August. And all of a sudden, you're like, whoa, what happened to the last 2 months?
Yes.
Time
You
gets
really,
away.
well, I do believe for any of these types of things, you need deadline laid out calendar.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that. And that's what keeps you on track. But the other thing is, you have to put the work into the calendar too. So it's not enough to put the deadline there. You have to allocate at least some time. And I say this all the time, just give me 10 minutes. Right? If you just sit down for 10 minutes, it's crazy what you can crank out. And there are times when projects that I think are going to take a few hours, take 15 minutes to get done, especially if it's writing or something related to that.
Especially if you're not jumping on Facebook and you're getting rid of all the distractions, you could get a lot more accomplished in a short amount of time.
You can get so much done, but not if you don't start. Not if you don't start. So 10 minutes, and this is true again for the gym, right? We've got an elliptical machine upstairs. If I can get on there for 10 minutes, I'll get on there for 30. It's just a matter of budgeting that 10 minutes just to.
If I can't work out, I have another app. What's it called? Where is that one? I haven't done it in a while. 7-minute workout is what it is.
Yeah.
Workout, little app that does 1 minute of this, 1 minute of that, 10-second break in between, 7 minutes long, and it's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. That's what Wendy Pett said. We're referencing her again. It's a great episode, by the way.
Yep.
If you got 5, give me 5, right? Should take 5 minutes of your energy and your time to put toward your health and your wellness, and it's so important. So priority management, right? Understanding what those real priorities are. And one of the things that I do every week is I send a friend of mine 6 things, Frank Agan, who's in our Business Growth Time group, posts a lot there.
Yeah.
6 things that I'm going to accomplish this week, right? And they're big things. They're high level things. They're not, hey, I'm going to write a blog post, right? But they could be. But what is it that's the most important thing that's going to move me closer to my goal? So now I have an accountability partner. And Frank's a master at it, because not only does he send me the 6 things and report on how we did on the 6 things, because that's an important piece.
Yeah.
But he actually has a whole list, and he's been doing this for years, where he just keeps track of these things and his accomplishments that he's made and the progress he's made for like 10 or 12 years. And it's awesome. But you have to enroll someone that gives a crap about your success, right?
The accountability partner. Yes, exactly. And this is also a good time. I think we've talked about this before. The Freedom Journal by John Lee Dumas. That has, I believe it's a 90-day program where you wake up in the morning, you write in it your goals, you talk about what you're focusing on, your accomplishments, and then at the end of the day, you review it, and you do it for 90 days and have that, 90-day goal set type thing. So that is called the Freedom Journal, and it works really well if you keep up with it. Mine lasted for 15 days or so.
Wow, you did pretty good.
I know. I don't like writing in journals. I don't know. It's just not my thing.
I don't like writing in journals. They need a digital version, right? Because you can just type it on the laptop.
I do, but it was pinging my phone too much.
Yeah, right. Stop with that noise. I don't have time for this.
But, it's a great concept, and it's a very similar concept to what you're talking about.
Well, and ultimately it's because it's developing habits.
Yep.
Right. Yep. And that's the key to all of this, is the habits, right? We have ideas. Ideas are great, but ideas without execution, they're a dime a dozen, right? Yeah. Execution more important than idea, but habits is what leads to the execution happening, especially if it's in alignment with your goal, right? And what happens is most of us have these habits that are subconscious. You think about what you do every morning when you wake up. It's probably a fairly similar thing, right? And I can tell you, because it's going to involve the following. You're going to check your phone. You're going to see email. You're going to see Facebook. You may see a couple other social sites. You're going to end up in the restroom at some point, because that's just what we do when we wake up. You're going to do something that involves getting your kids off to school 5 days a week or less, because your kids always seem to be home. I don't know how that works out.
I do. I just said, do you guys ever go to school? But yeah, 7 a.m. they actually is when the youngest leaves, and I wave them goodbye on the bus.
Right.
Yes. But I did add, I do have, in my world, this last 6 months probably, and I do feel it's made a difference even in my business. When I walk downstairs, I slow down, and I have a book on my desk, and I make sure I open it, and it's this one. And it's underlined, so I only read the underlines, to be honest.
Okay.
But
it's a thick book.
It's one page. Tiny things each day. Very tiny, small, to the point. Literally can take me 1-2 minutes.
Okay.
But I take the time to just not touch the internet or computer before I just have a little piece of calm. So
that's awesome.
Everybody needs to do something in their world that, has that.
You know what? So the reason smoking calms people, allegedly, even though it's a stimulant, is because when you're smoking, you change your breathing. Right? You breathe differently when you're inhaling on a cigarette, and it's the physiological change of the change in your breathing that has the calming impact, not the cigarette. Right? So if we could just sit like you're talking about and breathe for a moment, or just stretch and roll yourself forward where you're over your knees as low as you can go, and change your posture and stretch a little bit. The amount of self-care that we don't do is staggering. Right. So important ways to kind of get grounded and get ready for the stress or the opportunities of your day, for sure. So I like that you read that book every day. I'm going to, that would be an interesting thing to go live with occasionally. Right. Is to share what you're picking up and what you're reading and what you're
more life lessons than even business lessons, but
funny how they interplay with each other, though, right? So very, very important. So the habits take anywhere from 21 to 45 days to change, depending on who you are. So the key is become aware of what your rote responsibilities and things are, right? What are you doing systematically? I was doing this presentation the other day to a group of people. I was like, we even shower the same way every day. Right? Some of you wash your hair first. Some of you wash your hair second. Some of you start with your left boob and wash from there. And then I said, I'm talking to you, Keith. It's just Keith and I that start with our left boob. So, because otherwise it's awkward if you say boob. Or on a podcast, isn't it?
Are we done with this show yet?
This is my favorite part of the show. You know that.
I know it is.
Just figuring out new and improved ways to slightly embarrass you that's just my goal. But it is. We do things. And I said, next time you're in the shower, start washing your feet first and let me know how long that goes. And even if you did, you would wash the left foot first or the right foot.
So I should put in the conditioner before the shampoo.
In an unrelated note, my daughter, I got sent to wash our dog. She didn't wash the dog. She conditioned the dog.
Oh,
no. That fur is so pretty now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it is. Once we get aware of those habits and we start to realize which ones serve us and move us closer to where we want to go, we can keep those, right? And we can remove the other ones. There's a coach here in the Detroit area called Barry Demp, and Barry uses 4 words. He says, start, stop, more, less. What do we need to start doing?
There's 4 squares. I've seen this before. Somebody has a visual of it. Okay.
Yeah. What do we need to start doing? What do we need to stop doing? What do we need to do more of? What do we need to do less of?
Less of messing around on Facebook.
Yeah.
But,
I talk to people, I see people post all the time. I'm thinking about getting rid of Facebook.
I could never get rid of Facebook. It's life, but
it's life. I would like to say I could get rid of it. I couldn't get rid of it.
No. Mm-mm.
But I feel like I would be more productive if I was, because how
Well, I think
often
we need to get rid of it a little more,
right?
and I have last year or so. I mean, I've realized, like you were saying at the very beginning, we can't multitask. So I literally will turn it off during the day. And I use a business manager now, even when I'm managing some stuff. It's a separate account basically of Facebook that's just business ads area only. And so now I don't get my personal alerts and everything. So I think turning off those distractions and we all do different things. So, you need to look at what works best for you.
I think that part's awesome. If you can still stay in the work mode, right, in the business ads manager, the stuff that you're actually getting paid for, but
Mm-hmm.
alleviate those distractions and the noise. Because during this recording, I've had at least 15
Oh
notifications
yeah.
from Facebook
Oh
pop up, right?
yeah. I bet you I have to.
Yeah, it's just how it is, and I don't even have it open, right? But the notifications still pop on my laptop. So,
Uh-huh.
somebody's like, well, just take it off your phone. And I've taken it off my phone on a couple of occasions, but the amount of times I want to promote an event, right? And I want to do
Yeah,
it
we use
right
it in
now,
business
it's
and
like,
stuff. It just
can't
isn't
do it.
going to happen. Yeah, we
Can't
just have
do it.
to train ourselves. That habit, we train ourselves the right way, and it's fine. It works. It works if you have that habit. I've been doing it long enough where I've turned it off enough, and I'm way past that 21-day mark, like you were talking about for that situation. But there's many other things that could be worked on. So I think, what we should talk about is I think we should review this
We should review it.
in maybe the end of January or so that we're past that 21 to, how long did you say? 21?
21 to 45, but generally 21 to 28.
Okay.
So if we
Okay.
came back and did this at the end of January, right?
Yes.
That's actually about 45 days. It's December 9th. And
Okay.
we don't normally date these because we know we release them
You
later.
won't be hearing it on the 9th. Yeah.
Yeah, you won't. You'll probably hear this at the beginning of January, but it
Yep.
doesn't change the fact that 45 days will have gone by.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I'm excited about that. So a couple of things. One, maybe you and I should figure out how to do that accountability partner thing.
Yep.
In terms of this and what we're doing here. That's something that we can report back on.
Mm-hmm.
And for
Well,
me,
maybe we should post in the group that people should get, if they don't have an accountability partner, they should find one,
we should find one.
Yeah.
And then people inside the group might actually volunteer to be one.
Yeah.
Right, because that would be nice, right? Because
Frank seems to have time on his hands. He can be one.
That dude, man, I'll tell you, I'll share one of his stuff with you. You'll be like, oh no, he's just highly efficient. Right? He's an attorney by trade, so he's a highly functioning individual. So
wow.
it's he just gets a lot of shit done.
Yeah.
Great guy, really great guy, but won't be on our show. I asked him a dozen times, he won't do it.
Really?
We're now shaming you, Frank Hagan.
I guess it's not his thing.
It's not his thing.
Not for everyone.
Nah, and that's cool. Maybe he doesn't have time. Who knows? All right. So that's one of the things that I think we're going to work on. For me, I'm going to be just more cognizant of what those habits are. I'm going to look at the things that I've been doing, right? And it's not necessarily start, stop for me, but it's more less for me. There's not much that I need to start or stop, I don't think, but there are things that are definitely in the more and less category. So I'm going to work up a list of that, and I'll have that done in the next week, and we'll figure out how to share that.
The same thing. Cool.
All right.
I think we all can learn from this, and just focus on changing one or two habits in the new year. Not meaning, and you don't have to start on January 1st. Start the day you hear this. I don't know when that will be, a couple weeks from now, but and if it doesn't happen January 1st, do it January 15th. I don't care.
It doesn't matter, right? Time is such a weird concept to me that's completely invented by us, right? The universe has no idea that it's December 9th. It doesn't care. Right? Your mortgage company cares, but that's about the only.
The weather's starting to tell me it is.
That's true. That is true. It's getting there. It's getting there fast. So cool. All right. Where can they find us?
Well, group is great on Facebook. It is growing. So Business Growth Time. .xyz if you want to go right there. You can also find our website, tons and tons. This is show number 73. We have 72 shows before this, so you can check them out. Plus some older ones that some people dig up even before those 73 yet. But I suggest you start with the newer and go backwards. I wouldn't suggest going to the old. And you can find that at businessgrowthtime.com. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, any of those places. And just listen to some shows. We teach both the business networking and the social media side. So take what you want to listen to and just listen to, go back and listen to some.
Show roulette, right? Just pick one and start that.
Exactly.
That'll be fun. All right. Always a pleasure to chat with you. And thank you, Ernie. We love you. And we'll see you very soon.
Oh, I'm supposed to stop the recording. Whoops.
Yeah, nice.